All right, we are back with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have John Gerstenlauer and Scott Poirier with us. John and Scott come to us from the other side of the U.S. over there on the East Coast. So I'm super happy to have them here. They have a lot of experience. So John, Scott, thank you guys very much for hopping on the show.
Great to be here, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We already got into a little bit of it before we got onto the show, so I'm super excited to hear about your guys' stories. Why don't you take us back to the beginning? How did you guys each get into real estate in the first place?
Yeah, John, bring us on the beginning here.
I think I'm the culprit initially.
Yeah. And introduce yourself first when you speak, and just so people associate their your voice with the name.
Sure thing. Yeah, this is John Gerstenlauer, and so just my background quickly. I retired in 2016 as the senior vice president for international operations for a company called Tuda Perini Corporation. Now, I'm a professional engineer. I've got a master's degree in business. I'm a real thinker brain. I'm real technical and numbers kind of guy. But I had learned something back in 2011, 2012 about investing in real estate using self-directed IRAs. And Scott, well, he'll tell his story in just a minute, but he'll tell you even maybe where I told him this. But I said, one day I went to him, I said, hey, Scott, we're good friends. I said, hey, you ever thought about taking some of your IRA money and putting it into real estate? And so that's our first project. Our first real estate investment was multifamilies, a couple of multifamilies in beautiful downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. And we still own those properties, and they have exploded in value.
Yeah, if you bought it in 2011, I'm sure it's doing really well.
Yeah, really. So we pulled together 4 IRAs, mine, my wife, Scott and his wife. We pulled them together into a specially constructed entity, an LLC, and we bought these and leveraged it with a non-recourse debt, as you have to, and we got these 2 properties. And that's when we first started. We did that, and then the next week we said, okay, now what? We went and did it again without the IRA, outside the IRA, another 8-unit multifamily in the same city, and started from there. Shortly thereafter, and you want to tell them part of that story to how we go ahead.
It really is interesting. So this is Scott Poirier speaking. So my background is nothing like John's background. A thinker brain, I am not. If anything, I'd say I'm an action brain. I'm the guy that's running. I'm going to run 100 miles forward. We'll figure it out when we get there.
It takes both types, right?
It really does. And I think it's sort of the yin and the yang here. So it forces us to balance sort of this stuff out, So it's really good. So my background is actually a ministry background. So my entire adult life has really been in ministry and working with people and walking with people. I learned more in the act of doing it rather than what seminary taught me. I can tell you that. So it's just the act of dealing with people. You learn a lot of stuff fast. So it was actually at church. It was after services. He was sleeping during my sermon, but anyway, I remembered that part. But anyway, he came up to me after one of our times together. He said, hey, and he had that thought. Well, like 3 months went by and nothing was said. And I'm like, so one day we were there at church and I said, hey, were we ever going to do anything with the self-directed IRA stuff? And he said, well, I've been waiting for you. And I said, well, I was waiting for you. So communication is important. So that's how
it's a key to a good partnership right there.
It is. Yeah. So at that time, I had been developing an analysis sheet to analyze the right property, all the expenses, the initial purchase, maybe some renovation costs, to find out how can we get our 10% return on investment. I just targeted 10% ROI, and that's what we did it.
That's what you're going for, was 10%.
Did it and beyond.
Yeah, that's not actually a lot when you're talking about doing a flip.
No, that was not a flip. Those buy holds, long-term buy holds. Yeah.
So you were going for a 10% like IRR is what you were talking about, or you were just
let's say return on investment, ROI, which would be more on the cash, return.
Okay, cash on cash. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but then you talk about flips. Yes. Then not too long after that, we said, hey, we joined the local REIA group. We said, we got to get into some of these flips. That's a good place to be. So it was maybe a year later, I'm guessing approximately, we got into our first flip. Now I had been building airports, military bases, power plants. These are stuff, 50, 100
small
million.
Small things.
Yeah, small things. Yeah, even the Washington Monument. We did the Washington Monument renovation. That was a small job.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we did that job. And that was like $11 million. That was a change order size job for us. It's nothing. But I had done big jobs, but I recognized that when you do these little jobs, no matter how complicated, it's a whole different game. Yeah. So we said, we're going to joint venture with a contractor who needed the money and a partner to come in. So that was our first fix and flip. We joint ventured. And for me, the guy, the real analytical numbers guy. I wanted to see daily, how's the cost going, forecast. That didn't work that way.
No,
You know,
definitely not on individual flips.
No,
But
no.
I like that you guys kind of had your own roles, and I always love to hear partnerships that work out really well and how they kind of break it out. So you guys, I mean, you had done a successful multifamily, it worked out well, and now you're getting into the single family flips. How did you guys kind of break out the roles outside of that contractor?
Well, I think that particular one, I was pretty much the one. Scott was engaged, but I was the one who really drove. Didn't have to drive it. He was, what he was doing, but I was watching him regularly to supervise, if you will, that construction. Now, I was still full time, and I was traveling. I was in Afghanistan and Iraq, and I was all over the world traveling. So some stuff I would even be on the phone with Scott. I'd be on FaceTime. I'd be in Saudi Arabia or someplace, or in Afghanistan, FaceTime with Scott. He'd check stuff. So Scott was not experienced in doing renovations. I was experiencing construction and new building codes, that kind of thing. So we got through that one and made money. And then we decided to do some on our own as well. And we did. And we did great, except for one. We had one oops, which is okay.
That's okay. We all have those deals. You know, it's something that you need to have in your belt as at one point as a real estate investor. So
let me say that one of the things that John and I knew at the beginning is that our skill base was very, very different, right? And so, and again, I can do some of these fix and flips. I'd rather not, as far as the management goes. But I'll tell you what I can do. I can talk to anybody. I can talk to the seller. We love getting off-market properties. And that's just where my skill base is. It's that one-on-one. We might call it negotiation. That might be the bigger word. That could feel heavy though, maybe for some of your listeners to go, "Ooh, I'm not a negotiator." But it really is the skill of knowing how to have real conversation with people to make things work.
Can I kind of paraphrase what Scott can talk a hungry dog off of a meat wagon, okay? So that's kind of what, so he's the people person. He talks to people. He does all that negotiation and stuff. And I'm a little bit more hardcore. I'm out there, construction guy, pounding the ground, whatever.
Well, I mean, every deal starts with the acquisition. You can't, do real estate unless you find the deal, unless you negotiate the deal and close the deal. That all takes, and raise capital for the deal. It sounds like you guys were using your own capital, but if you hadn't been, that would be another position that would be, very.
We started that way, but then we moved into also raising that capital through private lending and all that. Which, by the way, are also conversations. All the stuff comes down to relationships, you know what I mean? And
exactly.
So
and I'll tell you what though, too, Gabe, I'm the guy that says, not from my experience in construction, always pay your people on time, pay them what they agreed to, pay them on time. So we built reputation from our lenders, from anybody, contractors. They knew that if they worked for us or loaned us money, come hell or high water, no matter what, they were going to get their money. It just wouldn't let them go under. And so that was reputation. Now, so my strict, that comes from my government contracting experience. You've got to be strict, crossing the T's, dotting the I's. And so we did that, and that really paid off well. We kept doing fix and flips, and then we bumped into, we had a consultant out in the West Coast who said, Derek, I really want to go full time. This is early on in this real estate area of my new career. And he says, ever heard of a guy named Ron Legrand? I said, no, who's this guy? And he says, you need to go to one of his seminars or webinar or something. Go. And we did. We actually signed up for his Gold Club in 2015, went to his Quick Start in 2016. And on day one, we committed. We went in head first. We committed. We did everything in Ron's world. Learned about now we're negotiating terms, owner financing terms.
Seller financing. Love it.
Yeah, it worked well. We learned that business. And we went to his mastermind program. Eventually, Ron says, you guys got to become mentors in my program. So then now we also mentor some of Ron's students.
February will be 4 years.
4 years. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Now tell them then the next segue, which is.
So here we are. Talk about accidentally bumping into something. We ended up getting a house that we did rehab. We thought we were going to sell it. All said and done, maybe we were going to make 50 grand, which was kind of our mark anyway. We don't like doing fix and flips unless we're getting 50 or more. So we're very finicky. Okay. Those that we don't want, we just wholesale them off. But anyway.
And were you guys, when you did your underwriting, do you have any like rule of thumb? I was never a big flipper. I did maybe, a handful of flips, but everybody always used that 70% minus repairs. Is that something you guys use, or were you doing, building out a full sheet? And
I was a little more detailed estimator than a lot of people are, but the maximum allowable offer formula, 0.7 times R of minus renovation costs. We start there.
Mhm.
but that might come up with a profit of say 30 grand. We'd
Right.
say, nope,
We're gonna wholesale.
or we're going to buy it so we can make 50 grand, at least forecast
Yeah.
50 grand. You know, you could have pluses and minuses. We've had both.
Yeah.
But especially since that one loser, we said, no, we're going to make sure we forecast in this 50 grand for the cushion. And even still, I was a little more detailed on estimating and getting down to the weeds, you know, not the big, you can use some square foot prices, but I don't like always using square foot prices. I want to know what the cost is.
Yeah, and I think I feel like that's super important. Doesn't matter if you're doing a flip, even if you're looking at commercial properties like myself, you always put a little cushion in there for things to go wrong. You know, the seller might not agree with it, but it doesn't matter because you don't want to lose money. That is the absolute worst when you lose money on a
Sleep
deal.
at night, man. I want to sleep at night.
Oh yeah.
You know, so what happened was with this particular renovation, this was a 3,000 square foot house. I think we got it back in, I don't know, maybe 2018, something like that.
Yeah, about
Put like 150 grand into this thing. So we're going to make about 50 grand. And John come up with the idea and said, you know, we're actually in a vacation area with this. Maybe we should hold on to this and just play around with maybe like short-term rental. This is how we got into the short-term rental business. And it's like just
and this was
unbelievable.
what you said, 2014, right?
2018.
2018
with the short-term rental. But
Yeah.
we're just doing it to just do something. We're just being creative with a particular property.
Yep.
Today, here we are now, 2023. This property easily is worth 625 plus. We got 280 on debt on it. And it's in a short-term rental in a vacation area. It's seasonal, but it makes money, right? And but it's making more money because of the appreciation and what's happened in this market, right? You go, oh my goodness, I'm not getting rid of this thing. We're holding on to it, right? But this is what got us, and we had to figure out how are we going to do this. And we bought into this philosophy a long time ago from our mentor, Ron Legrand. The less I do, the more I make, right? And so we figured this out through short-term rental. We wanted to automate as much of this as we could. And then this is what put us on the platform. And at heart, John and I are both educators. This is what we are. I feel like this is what we're called to. We love real estate and the stuff we get to do. But I got to tell you, man, what dings my bell is helping people do the stuff that we're doing. And that's really what brings me to a platform like this. We're educators. We want to help people know how to leverage this kind of stuff. So we got into teaching about short-term rentals, and we do apartments. We do all kinds of stuff in short-term rentals. And we're real excited about that.
Yeah, some we own, some properties we own in short-term rent, and many probably only 25% we own, maybe 75%, let's say roughly. We actually go out and we rent condos or houses or apartments and then turn them
arbitrage.
Interesting. Say that,
but not in vacation areas. The majority. See, this is what's unique. People tend to think short-term rental, Airbnb. That's sort of the big universal name that we use, right? Airbnb. They think vacation rental area.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much money on the table, Gabe, for regular places where people need to be. Hospitals, arenas.
My girlfriend's friend had a baby shower. I'm going to make this story super short because I want to go back to what you're talking about. But we just went down to Santa Rosa last weekend and we decided to stay in an Airbnb. It was just a house in the middle of a development. Just, you wouldn't expect it to be an Airbnb, not a resort area. I mean, Santa Rosa is pretty nice, but it's not a resort area, nothing like that. But this girl, I mean, she rents it out by the room and she has one of those locks on each door, you know, the keypad locks. And I'm sure she's clearing much more than she would if she would be renting that out as a, you know, regular long-term rental.
Right. And so in the arbitrage part of this market, it's a great cash flow. You don't get equity, of course, you don't own, but you get great cash flow if you price it right.
Yep.
So I mean,
and now we're teaching.
Cash
flow is king. We got to have money coming in.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the hard parts about real estate is there is so, you know, if you really want to make it big, if you really want to expand your portfolio, you need to buy them, and that requires a lot of upfront capital. You can raise capital, obviously, like I'm sure you guys are doing. But a lot of people, when they get started, they want to find these methods that, you know, they need to find these methods that don't require a lot of money because they don't have experience, and they can't go out and do a syndication because, you know, they just don't have that experience in their back pocket. You know, the first thing that a lot of people said to do was wholesaling, which is, you know, you can do it, but it is difficult. I love the arbitrage idea though, because it doesn't require very little upfront capital, and anybody can
Right.
do it. So
What, here's the thing. We are highly skilled in buying properties on terms, owner financing or lease option. Overwhelmingly, it's owner financing. We don't have any of our money into it. Our name is not on the mortgage. We've got, it's a sophisticated move, but our main wealth building system for us that has really put us on the map here is doing that. And the short-term rental business is actually just a conduit, because you've got to keep your eyes and ears open and build that. I want to come back to relationship. You start forging these relationships with these landowners, and before you know it, you can get into these conversations. Everything in me wants to own these properties. Okay. But the beauty for I think a lot of your listeners that are maybe just coming into this, cash flow, baby. I mean, that's what we're going after. But there are other things that we know that we're very aware of that we can still acquire, and that's what we want.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I love your guys' story. It's like every other investor story, it's not linear, and that's I think something everybody needs to take note of. When I first got started so many years ago, I wanted it to just be point A to point B, but it's going to go A, B, Z, X. It's going to go all over the board, and that's what your guys's was. Started in multifamily, went to flips, then to short term. Now you guys are teaching. So great arc there. Let's get a little bit into the weeds just a second, because we are going to have to go into the quick question round here soon. But I want to know a little bit more about the short-term rental, and then how you guys price out when you're doing arbitrage, how you price out the original lease amount. Like, how do you decide, how are you calculating, what am I trying to say here? When you find a property on market that's ready for lease and you're asking for a master lease and sublease situation, how do you decide whether that there's enough profit there for the short-term rental?
All right, so let me brag on my thinker brain business partner, okay? I would just go storming in the house, okay? He's like, no, we got to build a calculator, okay? So we call it our profitability calculator, and it's beautiful. Okay. And so I'll let John explain it, but this thing is what gives us eyes so we're not blind and wasting our time. Okay. And I can tell you that our students, they use it all the time. They absolutely love this particular tool that John created.
It's on our web-based platform that it's just one of the selections for our members, and they click that and they go in, it's profitability analyzer, and they can enter in, the landlord says, I want $1,500 a month or whatever is the rent. And you put in some of the basic costs. Maybe you're going to have cable TV, you're going to have internet access, you're going to put in your heat, your electric, whatever the different components. It's all built there. Even put up your front end costs. If you have some, you're going to buy like those access locks, keypad locks, maybe a camera, maybe a thermostat, a few things you might buy up front. Maybe you're going to maybe it's not furnished, and you're going to furnish it. And so that all goes into the equation, and that boils down to what you can expect. Now, occupancy rate is key in this to see. Now, we shoot for a high occupancy rate, and we work the system. But I will tell you that in our default entry, which you can change, is just 60%, which I consider a very low occupancy rate. So 60%.
And that's 60%. I mean, Airbnbs, you're talking people are renting individual days. So that is 60% of the days of the month are rented out to
18 days.
Yep.
Okay. 18 days. Okay.
A month.
All right. Interesting.
And so that's very, very doable. So we teach how to work that system to make sure you can get that occupancy rate up. But that's just the first default, and you can change it. If you think that for whatever reason you're in an area where it's going to be 40%, you can plug 40%. Or if you're going to be 80%, plug 80%.
And is there any tool out there that allows you to kind of see vacancy rates for short-term rentals?
I had not found it. I've heard some, you can look some anecdotal, maybe some stories, or Airbnb might say there might be a published report of what cities have. And here's the problem with that. It's kind of like that Zestimate thing that Zillow has. Yeah. What's in that
overvalued.
What's in it? We don't even know what's in it. Do they include short sales or family sales? Do they include, what do they include? Same thing with these occupancy rates. I don't like to get distracted from that. I want to work my system and know where I can get my occupancy rate, what cities, what areas of the city, where I can get occupancy rates up. I'll tell you this, you're going to find that you're going to be captive to vacation seasons if you're getting a vacation rental. It's hard to break out of that pattern, because that's what the pattern is. But in every city in America, there's just people who come and go.
Yeah.
I'm I'm thinking about developing my own predictor for occupancy of certain areas. And, you know, it's a real, my own complicated algorithm, which I would share once I figure it out. But I don't trust those things that people say. It just doesn't take. We have better occupancy rates than what they say. So
yeah.
So Gabe, yeah, actually, I'm glad you said that. I was going to say, so one of the things that we really do with our students when we're training them, we got these little ninja strategies, maybe I can call it that, right? On how do you increase that occupancy rate? And we do things, we have certain approaches we'll take that once someone is booked and we know we got a couple of days before or after open. This is a big one that your folks can take right now. Okay. If there's anyone even doing short-term rentals, you're going to love this one. What you do is you reach out to them and say, hey, we're really glad that you've signed up. You've got this reservation. Hey, we want to make the day before available to you at half price. And maybe the day after, because you know what, if you don't have anybody, you get that 2-day slot. It's very unlikely you're going to fill that anyway. Right. And so it's empty. These are the little things that we do. We also put nice things out for them to consume, like a bottle of wine and things like that. And we encourage them, hey, this is on us, right? It isn't like when you go to that hotel and you see the bottle of water there and you go, don't drink the water.
It's going to be $30.
$30. Yeah, right.
So we let them know, hey, this is on us, enjoy. So we do these little things, and the repeat customers coming back, that it really impacts our occupancy rate.
Yeah.
So we teach that sort of stuff.
I love to hear that. And then a resource that people, if anybody listening and wants to get involved in short-term rentals, AirDNA is an intelligence platform for short-term rentals. You guys can check that out. I just wanted to plug that here real quick. We do have to move on. I really wanted to ask one last question about contracts and liability. So, I mean, if you're doing a master lease situation, how do you guys kind of cover your ass when it comes to the liability of having someone under somebody else's lease?
Well, but they're really not under that lease. We sublease, and that's clear. So any landlord we rent from, we have a lease addendum that anything that is addressed in our addendum is specifically overrides if he has that same topic in his primary lease. Okay. And we've had an attorney review it. He says it's brilliant. It's simple. It's a single pager. It just covers the essence of to cover us. We also, by the way, we do get insurance for every single property we have, even though we don't own it. We get it's a special
general liability
package.
Insurance.
It's a special package
specifically for short-term rental.
And we name it's designed for short-term rentals, and we name the landlord as additional insured, which he can present to his insurance company and reduce his insurance costs a little bit too.
All right. So another ninja strategy with that is that's part of that irresistible offer to the landlord. Imagine talking to the landlord and saying, oh, and by the way, we're going to put insurance on this and you're going to be named additional insured, right? So if you can make that connector with the landlord relationally and you're putting that out there, man, it becomes hard for them to say no.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Right.
I love it.
These are little things that we really capitalize on.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I'm going to cut it off there. We have gone through our time, so I have to push us into the quick question round. Are you guys ready?
We're ready.
Let's do it. There you go. Get your shoulders loose. Starts with books. I'm a big bookie, so give me 2 recommendations, one for general life wisdom and one for real estate specific.
Well, I thought about this on just general life stuff, and there's more than one for me, but I'm going to go to the book of Proverbs. I know you're thinking this guy was a minister, but listen.
No, Proverbs is legit. I really
don't have
like
to
Proverbs.
be religiously engaged. Yeah, listen,
Wisdom.
there's good practical wisdom about the value of wisdom in doing that. So maybe I'll say that from a real estate standpoint, and there's a lot of stuff out there. Some of it's good, some of it's crap. But I'm going to go back to my mentor, but Ron Legrand, the less I do, the more I make, is entrenched in how to build wealth, real sustaining ultimate wealth in real estate, but all about automation. This is about not working in your business. A lot of us have a job. What we've done is we've inherited this job and we're killing ourselves, right? We want to work on our business. So I would highly recommend, very well written. I would recommend it.
That's one of his best. Yep.
Perfect. All right. The less I do, the more I make. Sounds like it's along the same lines as the E-Myth Mastery. Both great books.
Love E-Myth Mastery. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And so one more. Yeah, you guys, or that was Scott. So John, you gotta give us yours.
Oh, my books. Oh, I didn't know I had
Comics. You do
I
comics.
do
right?
comics. Yeah, no, I would never have selected Proverbs, but and I'm going to say this is made a little trite, but the first book that really got me fired up, you know what it is, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, you probably heard it a
Everybody,
million
right?
times, but it's got so many people fired up. So I just can't get off of that one, and then a follow on of Kiyosaki's is his cash flow book.
Yep, cash flow quadrants. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Those are business, real estate business books, really. So.
Yeah, those are great books. So many people recommend them, but for good reason, because I think what it does better than any other book is it really kind of, like you said, lights the fire. It shows you that it is the model that really does work. Real estate works very well for generating wealth, and Kiyosaki did a great job of illustrating that. So
let me tell you one more non-real estate book, personal development book. It just made an impact on me years ago. It's still a classic, is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah. That's a good
by
one.
Covey. And that's going to have you look at yourself and analyze who you are and what you want to be in this world. That's really powerful stuff.
That was the first book, like self-development book I read when I was in high school and I was like traveling Europe or something.
I think
like
that was written in
it.
the 80s,
Yeah, it's a really good book. Stephen Covey. That's one of the classics.
I was the vice president at that time when that came out.
There you go.
Reading that book. Yeah, I hear you.
All right, we're gonna move it on, go on to the next question, and this is for your younger selves. So let's go back to the John and the Scot who were, let's say they're in their corporate careers back in the ministry. Go back to them, look them in the eye, give them one piece of advice moving forward.
Let me start with, I'll tell you, I know exactly what it was. So back in the 70s, yeah, I'm that old. Back in the 70s, I owned a piece of real estate, a three-decker multifamily in Rhode Island, where I'm born and raised in Rhode Island. And I moved on, and what I did, and I sold that property. Thought, oh, I can make some money. I'll sell this property. And I made 10, 15 grand, whatever it was at the time. I would go back and tell young John, do not sell that house with rental. Yeah. I should have instead used that for itself, but use it as a springboard to do it again. And I just stopped. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no coach, no mentor. No one told me. I would tell me, don't sell that house. Do that again.
Absolutely.
I know what I would say to me. What are you waiting for? No, I mean, with our student base, we got a lot of young people coming in as well. And I'm thinking, man, if I started when they started, they have no idea. Right? We got some of these younger people that are getting into this. And I'm like, you have no idea. If you stick with this in 20 years from now, I don't think I may have another 20 years left, but I'm going to be, I'll be moving a little slower. But some of these young people, what are you waiting for? Get going.
Absolutely. Yeah, that seems to be a recurring theme that most guests on the show say, is that they wish they got started earlier. So if anybody out there, man or woman, is listening to this show right now, and you're younger, even if you're older, but especially if you're younger, what are you waiting for? Get going and go just buy any real estate. Obviously, make sure it's a cash flowing one, but go out there and get your first deal done. And so that moves us to the next question. This is about the US. It is a big, big world out there, a lot of square miles. So give us one metro you're most excited about investing in today.
Ooh.
Nashville, Tennessee.
All
right. We invest. We work in New England states right now. Not Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, and Tennessee. And of all our areas that we invest, I think right now, anyway, Nashville excites me.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. That place is exploding. There's a lot of places going. Yeah.
I really like Nashville. My girlfriend and I have been looking for something to buy out there just so we have an excuse to go to Nashville more often. It's really nice. So great metro. That moves us to the next question. This is about strengths. We are all gifted with strengths that we uniquely give this world. So what is your Superman strength?
I'm going to just come back to, I think it's the relational end of things for me. It's that one-on-one. I'm a networker by nature. And I try to stay in my conscious mind. I try to remind myself as much as I can, because most of us, including myself, if I don't remind myself, I'm in subconscious mode, and that's autopilot.
Yep.
And I've learned that when I pull myself out of autopilot, I get to control a lot of stuff around me, which actually enhances not only my life, I think it enhances the lives of other people because I'm showing up. And so I'm trying to be very deliberate with that.
Nice.
Mine quickly is to take the complicated and make it simple. And I can do that because I'm an analytical kind of guy. I can build spreadsheets for complicated analysis and bring it down to simple numbers, and even just problems. Any problems we have on a fix and flip, or any problem we have just in general, I can take the complicated and simplify it and come to a solution quickly.
Perfect. I love it. All right. That leads us to the next one. None of us are islands. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. So who is one mentor who has contributed significantly to either of your guys' careers today? Both of you guys.
Goes without saying for me, I mean, and we've already mentioned him, but Ron Legrand has changed our lives, our course and the direction we're going in. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be the educators we are today without that connector with Ron. And Ron's impacted a lot of people in real estate. I mean, if you're in real estate at any significant level, you got to know that name. Yeah. And we have a personal friendship with this guy on top of that. It's just a beautiful thing. Didn't know that was going to happen, but here we are.
No, it's amazing once you find the first mentor. He's never met me, but I bought his course, and his name's Matt Turiel. And that first course, that first mentorship, if you would, I was listening to his podcast every day, it really does catapult your career forward. So shout out to Ron. Thank you for helping Scott and John on their road today. And that leads us to the second to last question. This is about tools. Tools form the backbone of every business. So what is one tool you guys could not live without?
Ooh. Well, I'm going to have to compartmentalize it, I guess. But from the short-term rental perspective, we have one of the main tools we have is what we call our city search tool. And it is robust. I think we're pushing about 2,200. This is research. We've hired a team to do the research for us, which of course our students benefit from tremendously. It's a real sexy tool as well, because it is, because it's like you can look anywhere in the country. So you're not spinning your wheels. You know what people do is they self-sabotage a lot. They don't intend to, but they go, I don't know where I can do a short-term rental. Well, that tool is going to tell you where you can. And even in the areas that you can't, I'll tell you what we're teaching our students, just go outside those zones that you can't. And that's where you do your short-term rental business. So that tool has broadened the horizon tremendously for short-term rental.
Nice. I love it. What's the name?
It's ours. It's
just
our
search
something
tool.
you
You're not going to find it on. You're not finding it on Google. No, this guy invented the platform.
Yep.
I'm just here for the ride.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, it sounds very useful for people out there interested in short-term rentals, which leads us to the last question. You guys have given us a lot of good advice. I'm sure people out there who are interested in the short-term game want to reach out, get in contact with you. Yeah. Where can they find you, and what will they find?
John, what are they going to find?
We have our website, and I wouldn't just send you just to the website address, because what you can do is you can check us out, and we're going to be giving some free things. Scott, go ahead.
So you're going to get two things that's right out of our system. So we're going to give you a checklist. I don't know about you, but I love that. I love the word checklist, right? Because it gives you a lot of confidence that you know what to do. So one of the checklists we're going to give you is furnishing a unit, a house, condo, whatever it is. It's a pretty good checklist. And what it's designed to do is to actually help you to restrain yourself. Because a lot of people, when they're first going into this, they look at a house and they go, they're going to furnish it the way that they think they want to, like, live in it themselves. Like they're going to pull up the U-Haul truck, right?
Yeah.
And you don't need to do this. If you've stayed at short-term rentals, you want it to be cozy, comfortable, clean, but you don't need to put a bunch of crap in there. You just don't. Don't look at it like your own house. In fact, you might do yourself a favor to look at your own house like you would in the way that you would furnish a short-term rental. But so this checklist breaks it down for you. We got it room by room. You're going to see that it's minimal, and that's going to save you a lot of money going into it as well. So we're going to give you that checklist. And then we're also going to give you a template for the home manual.
The house sort of like, we call it a house book. We like to call it in our units.
And anyone that's been to a short-term rental, that's the first thing that you look for. And we've got some stuff. This is a template, so you don't even have to think about it. All you're going to do is personalize it. So we're going to give you that template as well. and hope that really helps your followers.
And your listeners can just go to our website. They can do on the website. They'll enter their email address, and we'll send that to them. And the website is Reibn.com. It's REIB as in Bravo N.com/checklist. REI stands for Real Estate Investors Business Network. Reibn.com/checklist.
Okay, so that's REIBAN.
No, A. REIBN.
EN. Okay.
REIBN.com/checklist.
All right. REIBN.com/checklist. I will put that link in the show notes. So if you guys want to reach out, get in contact with Scott and John, just go ahead and click a little more in the description. It'll pull down the full description, and in there you can find the URL.
Awesome.
Excellent.
All right, on John, Scott. Well, that wraps it up. Thank you guys very much for hopping on the show.
A pleasure, man, being with you and with your listeners.
Thank you, Gabe.
Peace.
Absolutely. For everybody who's here with us, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. And if you guys want to support the show, best way to do it is just to give us a like, subscribe, share, all that jazz on whatever platform you're using. Other than that, hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started, or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the investors quick analysis calculator and offer tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automatically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the Investor's Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the Wholesaler's Template for quick assignment cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day and even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.